Throughout Yugoslavia's existence, there has always been ethnic tensions among various political groups. This would ultimately lead to the country's collapse, but under the rule of their first president, Josip Broz Tito, the situation was kept under control, as he had promoted brotherhood and unity between the six known republics in Yugoslavia. He always tried to suppress nationalism, and even did it sometimes by force. The death of Tito in 1980 is often viewed as the death of Yugoslavia. Afterwards, Yugoslavia's financial situations began to take a downfall, and the ethnic tensions officially began. Nationalism grew, but only in some parts of the country. Eventually, Yugoslavia's ruling party turned into six individual leagues of communists. The Bosnian Civil War was started from the Serbs, who wanted to make a Greater Serbia in Bosnia by creating a dictatorship and wanting everyone to follow it. The Bosnian Serb forces were in control of the government, and by the end of 1993 they had set up many headquarters in Bosnia. Most of the Bosnian Croats had left the country, while a significant Bosniak population remained only in smaller towns. During the war, supported by the army and Serbia itself, the Serbs rose in armed rebellion. The Croats, or the non-Serbs, and Muslims and the Serbs who were not in favor of the Greater Serbia, were put under control by the gruesome military appointed by the Serbian leader Radovan Karadzic, in an effort to cleanse the larger areas of the non-Serbs. The main target of the civil war became the capital of Sarajevo and attacked the city many times using many cruel methods. For the people stuck inside the city, it was difficult to rebel because the war was preventing them from receiving any war supplies from outside countries. The spark to rebel was seen when several peace proposals between a Croatian and Bosnian Federation and Bosnian Serbs failed because the Serbs refused to give up any territory. They were weakened by the proposals, but still remained in the power of the land they had gained. This is when the Bosniaks declared dissent with the war by asking for help among the United Nations Committee. Along with that, they pleaded to the United States military, but received no feedback. The fall of the government was seen after several reports were sent to the United States government, and the president eventually responded by removing their trade with the Serbian country. They also gave more provisions to the rebelling government to fight back before the UN forces would arrive. Luckily, there was no fall of the new government after provisions were found. In August of 1995, after the Serbs refused to comply with the UN ultimatum, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, joined forces with the Bosnian and Croatian forces for 3 weeks of bombing Bosnian Serb positions and a ground offensive. The peace settled when Serbia's economy was crippled by UN trade sanctions, and its military forces were under assault in Bosnia after 3 years of warfare. The leader, Milosevic, agreed to enter negotiations that October. The U.S. sponsored peace talks in Dayton, Ohio, in November of 1995, which included all the leaders of both sides of the war, resulted in the creation of a federalized Bosnia divided between a Croat Bosniak Federation and a Serb Republic. Even 20 years after the war, Bosnia is still living with the consequences of the war. One of the worst things coming out of the war was the psychological trauma that people faced due to the horror that they saw. The people feel lost, and this is why some of them are still committing suicide. However, the government has now become steady and follows certain rules to make decisions and creates laws.